Okay, so when you first open up the dashboard, this is what it's going to look like. Importing the data is as easy as going to the Home tab, and then under this there's a button that says Get Data, and most of the time the two most common data sources are Excel workbooks and CSVs. So in this example I'll use Excel workbook. Really just depends on your file format. These are Excel worksheets. You can just bring in any of these. So open, and this little folder icon represents the worksheet, and then this little sheet button are the actual sorry, this is a workbook. This is what we just imported, and then if your workbook has multiple sheets, you can choose which one to import. There's only one sheet in this one, so you can just click check, and you can either hit load and transform data. Transform data is more if you're trying to clean up the data. Most of the time the data comes clean, so you can just hit load, and on the right it will show up. So here's the data. You can always rename it to anything you want, race, and that's essentially it for importing data. Okay, the section will be for how to update the Excel data. So for example, this is the current CPRIT report that we are currently running the Excel data off of, and there's a new report that came in that's more updated. So this is how to update it. So this is the original CPRIT report that we're using on the right side. Click the three dots on the right and hit Edit Query. Then make sure that we have the CPRIT grants funded selected. On the right there's a button or bar that says source, and next to it is a gear icon. Click the gear icon, and then there's something that says file path. Hit browse, find the newly updated report, hit open, hit OK, and then hit in the top left corner close and apply, and you'll see these numbers change to the updated report. Hello, so most of this dashboard, or this tab of the dashboard, is actually being ran off the CPRIT grants fund. So if I change the program, they're all linked together and you can see the stuff that changes. This is blank because it's product development specifically, so but the stuff that doesn't change is this visual right here, which is the current product development portfolio mix. This is actually a handmade Excel sheet that I made, and the 82%, 12%, 6% is actually coming from this Excel sheet. So this is the category, and then the rest is 50 rows. So I literally just did the math and put as much therapeutics that would make up to, I believe, 82%. Same thing with devices and diagnostics. So you would just edit the sheet if you wanted to change the numbers, and then after that you would just hit this button and hit refresh data, and then it would change the percentages. So that's how you change this graph. So I'm just going to run through how some of these are calculated. So of course they're coming from the CPRIT grants funded Excel sheet. The total amount awarded is literally the summation of the award amount, this entire column. So it's the sum of all the grants. So all you do is over here in the fields, it's literally sum. Total funded grants, number of awards. Technically you could do the same thing as sum as well, but this one I actually made a calculation. It's the name of the measure or calculation, number of awards, equals count, and then it's the grant ID. So it's literally counting all the grant IDs. Total funded entity, this is also something known as a measure, same thing as this one. These are both running, it has a calculator to measure. So if you look closely, basically this is just doing a distinct count. So it's doing a count of the organizations, however it counts it only once. So as you see, Baylor College of Medicine, there's 2 rows of Baylor College of Medicine, but it's only counting once. And make sure that it uniquely counts every organization once as a sum, if that makes sense. Number of cancer types funded, distinct count as well. It's not going to count the same value twice. So if there's a type of cancer that shows up 4 times, it's only going to count it once while counting the remaining types of cancers. Amount funded for product development. This is also just a summation. Click over here, it's the sum of award amount, except if you go to filters on this visuals, you can filter the visuals so that the program is only showing product development. So I have that checked off. If I took this off, it would literally show total amount awarded because it's not being filtered. This would be for all programs, but we want only product development, so we check that off. So over here, it's a little bit trickier. So for organization, I did top N, which means I filtered it for the top 5 most awarded product development entities. So it's being filtered by the top 5, basically most funded product development entities. And how did I filter to only product development? Right here in program, I checked it off, product development. So yeah, let's take a look at this one. Funding amount by organization. I also did a top 5 thing, just because the reason why I do top 5 is just because if I were to take it off, it would be like just tiny slices because there's so many different organizations. I wouldn't be able to fit all of them. So I did top 5 for that. Another filter that I have on here is award amount. Values, award amount, obviously. Legend, organization, because we're filtering by these organizations here. So nothing too crazy. I just went over this one. This table. Basically, these values right here is what's going to show up on the table. So as you see, grant ID title, award amount, organization, program, cancer types, all shown right here. So if you wanted to remove one, you just click the X. If you wanted to add one, you can just drag it on to the values. That's essentially it for the table. Nothing too crazy. Funding amount by program. Literally, axis is a stacked bar chart. Axis is program. Values is award amount. Nothing too crazy there. So I'm going to go into a little bit of the I guess more technical sides. So everything is ran by like these squares and boxes. That means I could drag this wherever I want. Same thing with this. Oops. Let's bring that back. Or I'll just put it back manually. Same thing with this, impact summary. All of these are definitely movable. So if you want to edit some of the attributes, if you look over here, there's a, we'll just take these out so it's not distracting. There's a format text box, and this is where all the options are. So title, I have the CPRIT text, I have the font color, alignment, text size, and then the font. That's essentially it for all the text, really. It's nothing crazy. Impact summary, font color, font. Here's just a line that I imported. It's just a shape. Literally just an outline shape. Nothing too crazy. This banner is also just a solid box. The fill color, the transparency. One important thing about the box is that you want to make sure it's in the very back layer, because if it's in the very front, it's going to cover everything like this. So you just go to format, send backward, send to back. Click out of it. Should be in the very back. These buttons, there, if you go into the format shape, there's an action button. It's on. Type web URL, and then you put in your web URL right here. And so essentially when a user clicks on the button, it will take you directly to the web page. So, but if you're in the editor mode, you have to do control click, and it would take you directly there. You see. Same thing with this. You just go here, action, web URL, web URL. The way I made this, it's actually called a slicer in the visualizations. So this is the title of it, the font color, the background of the item. So when you open up the menu, you can change the font color, font size, font, and the field is the program. So it's basically what category. I could change this with a lot of different things. I could change it to cancer type, so when I open up the box, it would show all the cancer types. This is how you change it right here, the program field. Convergence Ventures, same thing essentially. It's just an image imported. I changed the font color through Photoshop, because you can't really change it through Power BI. Same with the action button. Anything with the URL, it's always going to be in the action button. Key highlights, you can literally just click and type. Really straightforward. These boxes, text, it's either going to be text or title. Depends on the box. I will note that these are layered over these fill boxes right here, and these also have text. Okay, edit the title right here, font, text size, etc. These are two separate things. This number I just laid it on top of the box, so it looks like they're one cohesive thing. But yeah, if you want to change the titles of this title, all the options are right here. You just need to make sure you go to this format button. Sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier, because you have these different options. Most of the time you're only going to be really just working with these two. This is more for like customizing. So customizing the x-axis, it's where everything is. Legend, data colors, data labels. You can choose if you want it inside at the bottom, inside at the end, the color, text size, etc. Yeah, same thing, data labels. Okay, so this one has a little bit more options. You can have it display the category and the data value, or you can just do the percent total, data value, and the percent category and the percent. But for money, I like to just do category and data value, color, display units, millions, thousands, etc. Font family, the label position outside. Very customizable through this format button. Just clicking on the chart. Everything's kind of similar in a very similar way. You just click on it, everything will be here. You just explore the options, data labels. That's how I did it. Literally just played with this, turning on the title, turning on the background, adjusting transparency, data colors, etc. Y-axis, x-axis, very customizable. You don't really touch much here except for the fonts, font size, font color. Yeah, nothing too crazy. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me an email. Since the TMC tab doesn't have any Excel data being ran into it, very straightforward. It's a box of text with the title, font color, font size, font. Really straightforward. There's a solid white box in the back with the 33% transparency with a fill of white. Nothing crazy there. Just remember to make sure to go to format, send backwards, send to back, so that it's not blocking this entire part. So it's just in the very back layer. It's like a background layer essentially. A little white line, text, adjusting the title, the title area. Very simple controls. Just edit your text here, font color, font size, alignment. These are buttons. I'm not sure what that does actually, icon. Most important part is the action right here. Basically web URL. You put in your web URL here. You click on it. It'll take you to the TMC page. Same exact thing for here. These are just copy and pasted with different web URLs. Same buttons here. This is just a white fill solid. To insert something like that, you'd literally just do shapes. Rectangle. Go to fill, white, 33%. You can put on a title, info. Yeah, we can do something. Yeah, I'll go more in depth on that later. These are just text boxes. More text boxes. These are actually separate from the white fill. The white fill contains the white fill and the text for the title. So edit the text here. Nothing too crazy. I'm trying to keep this short because this video is going to be really long. If you have any questions, just send me emails per usual. You see there's a text option to bold, italicize, underline, stuff like that. Yeah, And you can even insert hyperlinks for certain text. You just highlight it, insert hyperlink, and then insert your link. Nothing crazy down here. So these are a little bit separate. There's actually 3 layers. It's the box itself, and then the text, and then an image that I imported from flaticon.com. These are either like it's either 2 or 3 layers. So this is 3 layers. This one's actually 2, no, this is 3 layers. Yeah, most of these are just 3 layers. I'll go a little more in depth. We'll do a sample dashboard together in the next video, but this is essentially the TMC dashboard part of the project. Nothing too crazy. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, sorry. These numbers are not being ran from Excel data, so you would have to manually change these. As you see, I can change it like that. I would not be able to do that if it was running directly from an Excel sheet, but these are all fixed, so you have to edit these manually, so it's an important thing to note. So we switch over. By the way, to navigate between the tabs, it's literally as simple as just clicking at the bottom left and navigating. So we have the Houston, Texas tab. Don't be alarmed, it might be a little overwhelming. Same fundamentals, text box, shape in the back, buttons with the URLs. You just adjust it right here in the action. Pretty straightforward. Text as well. So the only quote-unquote complicated graphs or part of this tab are the graphs, these 4 graphs. So this is using something called a tree map, both of these. Just using different data. Running from an Excel sheet. It has race, ethnicity, under details, values, population, tooltips, first location. So actually you would just, so for example, let's just do this from scratch. So you would click the tree map button and you just resize it to this position and sizing that you like. We're going to bring the population of values. Going to bring race/ethnicity to group. And this is showing both Houston and Texas population, but we only want just Houston. And if you look in this Excel sheet real quick, we have location. So we have each race, population for Houston and Texas, but we want only Houston for that graph. So all you have to do is grab location, bring it to tooltips, and it will actually automatically go to first location. But for this one, it's actually last location. You would just click here and click first and last to change between the locations. So that's essentially it. If you wanted to customize it, you go to the format button, go to data colors. You can change the data colors, data labels, the units. You can change the font size. Yeah, this program looks really intimidating, but it's a lot easier than it looks, I promise. Oh, background's pretty important. I have a background color with the transparency of 33%. It's the magic number. It makes background fills look nice. This is literally the same exact thing, except this time it's last location. So we go over into here. This is actually just a stacked column chart. So let's see if there's any filters on this. I don't think so. Nope. Okay, so yeah, if you were to just bring this from scratch, literally just click on stacked column chart, resize it, put in the position that you like. Then we're going to bring industry to axis, total funding to values. Boom. That's literally it. And then you can adjust the title, font size, font. You adjust the background, color, transparency. Super simple. Same thing with this. This one's a little bit more complicated, just a little bit. So this one's actually using a line and stacked column chart. It just means you can have a column with lines as well. The reason why I decided to do that is because there's 3 different values instead of just 2. or even one. So dark blue, or this purple, or dark blue, whatever, indirect employment, blue, direct employment, and then the orange line is total employment. So essentially, let's take this off. We were starting from scratch. Open up the Excel sheet. Let's do shared axis, direct employment, indirect employment. Oh, actually, this would go into column series. I'm sorry. Wait, does it? No, column values. I'm sorry. And then this is showing the total direct and indirect employment. We have to filter it by industry. So bring industry sector into shared axis. And bam, it shows all the different industries with the number in each industry. And then to get that orange line to show the combination of direct and indirect, I actually made this measure. It's literally just a calculation. So I put total employment, that's the name of it. It's literally just direct employment column plus indirect employment column. So yeah, to make a measure, it's as simple as doing new measure. I'll just show you real quick. It's not measure, I'm sorry. It is new column. It's new column. So if I were to do this from scratch, total employment equals, and I can type in the column direct employment, and then I can hit tab to autofill plus indirect employment tab to autofill, and enter. And then I can drag this into line values, and boom, I see both. And then for the bottom, really simple stuff. Literally just this solid fill with the text. You can edit the text, font color, etc. And then this is just a separate title. The reason why I keep them separate is because if I were to add a title, I don't have that much control over it. Like if I did no fill, it just looks funny. Like I don't have transparency on the background color for the title, and I can't really position it exactly where I want. I just have less control. So if you're wondering why I made a separate text box, and to insert text box, it's literally just insert text box, and then you just type hello or whatever, and then just remove the background and just position it and change the font. Really simple stuff. I'll show you more in depth on how to make those cards in a bit. I'm just doing a quick overview. Yeah. Picture. Number 4, none of this is running from Excel data, so this would have to be manually updated by going over here and going to text and just changing it. So, picture, all that stuff, yeah. Nothing crazy is going on. That's it for the Houston, Texas tab. So, a way to change the background is make sure you're not clicking on anything, and if you do, you unclick onto anywhere that isn't selected. This is your best friend right here, format, page background, and then let's do revert to default. Oh my god, that's so bright, that hurts. So yeah, let's say we start from here. Click the format button, page background, add image, just grab your image, TMC 3 background, and it looks like nothing happens at first, but you actually have to raise down this transparency to 0. Boom, it's there. And for the blur in the background, that you can't actually do that in Power BI. I did that customly in Photoshop, but you change the fit of it. Yeah, that's it for background. Okay, so to get a better understanding of Power BI and the really basic on basic stuff, to just in case you want to make your own tab, I'm going to try to go through it really quick and really brief, but as detailed as possible. So we're going to make a sample dashboard or report, I guess, per se. So when you first open up Power BI, this is exactly what it looks like. We're going to do get data, and your two main data sources is going to be Excel and CSV. So we're going to play with the CPRIT data for this demonstration, and it is in CSV format. And you can always check by going to your file and then it says CSV or Microsoft Excel worksheet, In this case, we're using CSV because the CPRIT data is in CSV. Hit open. It's gonna take a second, and most of the time, at least for the CPRIT data, all you really have to do is just hit load, and everything will load up. But in case the data is skewed or you need to do some data cleanup, you can do transform data. Actually, we can clean up this data because there are stars. So let's do transform data. It's going to open up something called Power Query Editor. It's just an editor part of Power BI, which lets you clean up the data. So for a word amount, there's a 1. We can just take out the 1, and it'll show you your applied steps. It's basically like a history of what you do in case you mess something up. So the first thing we have to do is we are going to remove these asterisks at the end. And I'm going to try to remember how to do this from scratch, because I did not prepare for this. So we're going to do replace values, value to find, and do replace with nothing, because it will just remove all the stars. Boom. And then another thing you want to do is that Power BI doesn't detect that it's numbers from the start, so you have to go to the top left to go to transform, data type, or we are going to do a whole number. Let's hope that it works. Yes. And it's because before it was text, and you can't really do calculations if Power BI thinks it's text. Then we're just going to go to close and apply if we're done. If there's no more changes that need to be made, everything kind of looks good from here. Just gonna let it load. So now build visuals of your data. The first thing I would do is do a page background, add image. Oh, sorry, I'm going too fast. So you need to make sure that this visualization tab is open. It's gonna be your best friend. Press the format tool, press page background, add image, pick your image. In this case, we're gonna do a TMC3 background, and at first nothing's gonna happen. Got to bring down this transparency slider. Bam. You got yourself a background. So the way that I designed it is I would go to insert. We're going to put that banner at the top, the little transparent banner that I did. Shapes, rectangles. We're going to adjust it to size. I'm just going to do a little sloppy job just because I'm trying to keep this short. And then we want to mess with the transparency, so go to the fill, under format shape. A good number I like to use is 33. Change the color. Then on the insert, we're going to do text box. Yes, text box. And we're going to turn off the background and turn on title. Go to the title. You could either type it in here or use the title text, whatever you prefer. I'm just going to do it through here. CPRIT. I'm going to bump up the text size to, let's see, like 30 is fine. Important, change font to whatever you want. I like this font, Sugu UI semi-bold. Can't really pronounce that. Change the color, resize this. Maybe actually, let's bump up these font size, so like something like 40. CPRIT, and again, this is not going to look very pretty. Just doing this for demonstration's sake. I like to put a line here, just for the aesthetic. Shapes, line, and then there is a way to rotate this. First of all, let me change this to white. I'm gonna size that down. Rotation. It's 90 degree. Yeah, 90 degrees. I'm just gonna resize that. Bam, CPRIT. And then let's say we want to do a button that's about page, so we're just gonna click button, blank, get this button, just put it here, turn on the text about CPRIT, and we can change the font color, we can change the outline to black. Yeah, that's fine. You can even do a background, I believe. Yeah, but we'll just leave that off for now. Most important part, action. I'm gonna go grab about us, copy, click this type, go to web page URL, type that in, hit enter. So now if we test this and hit control click, see it opens up. Here, let me do it again so that you guys can see that. There you go. Yes, CPRIT. You can also rename the tab right here. Just double clicking or right clicking, hit rename. I could show you the filtering button. There's that slicer. So if you bring in the slicer, resize this. This is how I did the filtering for the programs. I just drag that here. Let's go into fields. We imported this Excel sheet or this CSV file from the very beginning. Just bring program into field. So you can see it's like a checkbox, but we don't want that. Oh, I think I remember how I did it. There's a button right here. Yeah. So to do a drop down, you just click this, hit drop down, and then you have a drop down. You can customize the color and turn off the background. That's what I did. I turned off the background. Slicer header, I change this to white, change the font to this. And then we also want to change the font of the all items white. Oh, in that case you want to change the background under items to essentially the same color, similar color. That could work for demonstration's sake. That's how you make the drop down for the program. Let's do top 5 most funded entities by product development category, specifically product development category. So we'll go to the right, select program. Okay, what about the program? Well, we want to see the top 5 most awarded amounts, so we're going to click awarded. Oh, I meant enemy program, I meant organization. So as you see, it's really messy. That's not what we want. We want to move the organization to access. And as you see, there's a lot of organizations. So you go to this filter pane, click on organization. No, not organization. Award amount. Which one is it actually? I kind of forgot. Oh, no. Sorry. Go to organization, click on the filter type, top N, do top 5. Okay, top 5 what? Well, gotta drag in the award amount by value, hit apply filter. Now it's gonna show us top 5 most awarded organizations. And then let's say we want to filter this by program. Well, we can drag program into filters and select product development. So now it's gonna show us only the top 5 awarded organization by product development category. And then just to mess with the aesthetics, we are going to change the background. Let's do we'll just do white. Yeah, we can do like something like that. And then we're just gonna change the colors of everything. So I'll change this to white, change the font, center it. Let's change the bars, which would be under data colors. See something lighter? Sorry guys, this is not gonna look pretty, but for the demonstration's sake, we're doing with what we can. And then we want to change the X and Y axis font color. We'll do white just to save time. You can change the font if you want. I'm gonna leave it how it is. Change it white, boom. And then let's say we want the data labels inside. There's a data labels section, turn it on. Let's do white. Let's put it on the inside, under position auto, inside center. Voila. Pretty cool. Let's make a key card. My own custom key card. So you go to insert shape, insert a rectangle, reposition it. We are going to change, first of all, if you just look at it, you want to turn off the outline, click on it, turn off outline. Then you want to go to fill, change the transparency, 33 is the magic number. Next up, we want to give it a title. I don't actually like using the title option because look, award, I'll just give you an example. It like cuts it off, and then if you give it a background color, you can't adjust the transparency, so it just looks really weird. I don't like it. Let's use text instead. So we're going to do total, what are we going to do? Let's see, total grants awarded. So how many grants has CPRIT given out? Put this at the top. Boost up the font size. Let's change it to semi-bold for the font. And then we're going to actually bring in a card. And the reason why we're bringing in a card is because this is going to run from the Excel sheet and be interactive and changeable and just correspond exactly with the Excel sheet. I don't know what it's called. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's gonna get data directly from the Excel sheet. That's all I can really tell you. Visualization card. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna press the grant, and then you see it's gonna give us the grant ID, but this is not what we want. It's just giving us grant IDs. We want the sum of grant IDs. So it's as simple as that. Literally just pressing the check, going to the fields, click on the down caret, press count. And even if you wanted to see like unique, like how many unique organizations there are, so that it doesn't count twice, it only keys up, it sums up each organization only once, you could do count distinct. And apparently it's still 1679. That's cool. So we can go to the format pane, turn off the background, we can turn off the category, we can change the actual label itself to white, change the font to semi-bold. No, I don't like that color. Or I mean, I don't like that font. Actually maybe it's fine. That's cool. So that's how you do it. And then if you see right here, it automatically connects to the slicer or filter, whatever you want to call it. Change the prevention. These are how many grants are in each program. Pretty cool stuff. So that's how you make a card. Really simple stuff. So one thing I forgot to mention is that you want to make sure that your numbers are in money format, but because there's a $sign, it thinks that our data is in text when in fact it's whole number. So to do this, you go to your Excel sheet, 3 dots, edit query, go to the column, and you can try going to transform, clicking the column, changing it to whole number, and yeah, you get whole numbers and everything will work. But this is money, so we want to let Power BI know that it's money. So we'll just hit close and apply, and boom, it's just numbers, but we want to show the $sign. We want to tell Power BI that it's currency. Click award amount, and then make sure you go to column tools, and there is a formatting section where you just click the $sign. Boom, that's it. The last 2 steps we're going to do for making our sample dashboard. So first, let me just copy and paste this and put impact summary because this is bothering me a lot. Impact summary, and change to black. Let's insert our convergence logo. So insert image, convergent logo, crop to recolored. Actually recolored the logo so that it's more visible. Might not be that visible with this color actually. There's a darker color that I have. It's okay. We're not worrying about the color and aesthetic right now, so we're just gonna resize it. Just put in that corner. I know it's not visible, but just for this demonstration's sake, just throwing it in, and turn on the action, put the web page URL, change the type to web page URL, and bam. The next thing you want to do is that we're gonna make a table. Let's just go to visualizations, table, and this is essentially literally just a table of data of the grants. So we'll do grant ID. That's pretty important. Do award amount. Actually, we'll do award amount later. Let's do title, cancer types. Yeah, this might be too much actually. Let's do award amount. I mean, we could do awarded date. Makes a hierarchy for you automatically. So show the years, and we'll do the organization. So that's how you make a table. You can always rearrange this however you like. Let's see. Yeah, you just move this around and it'll just reorganize everything. Yeah, that's essentially how you make a table. You know, it's customizing the format. You can even remove the background. If you want to change the column headers and even the background color, you can do all that. But let's not go too crazy here for the customization. Let's do one more visualization. Let's do a pie chart, and we're going to show the funding of each program. Something really simple, and hopefully by the end of this you kind of get a grasp on how you would make your own tab and customize everything the way you like it. Let's check off program and check off award amount. Bam. It's pretty simple. From here you just do customizations really. So go to format, change the background color to blue. Let's do 33%. Let's adjust all the font colors, like we'll start with the title. Change this to white, center it, change the font to semi-bold. Data labels, let's change that to white. So it's a little bit messy right here. So let's take off display units. Let's do thousands. You think that's good? Maybe millions. What does billions look like? Okay. I'll just do millions. It's more appropriate. Most of these are in millions. And one disadvantage to Power BI is that there's no text wrapping when it comes to these, to some of these labels. Sometimes there's text wrapping in other stuff, but sometimes stuff gets cut off. That's why some graphics have to be a little bit larger. Change the legend font color to white as well. And yeah, that's essentially it. You can even put the data labels inside if you really wanted to, but it's a little too crammed. You can even do like a prefer outside, as in like it will change accordingly. So yeah, it's pretty neat. Okay, the last thing I'll do is really simple. I'll do the key, how I did the key highlights section. Really, let's just insert a shape. Bam, let's do resize it. Go to fill, let's change transparency 33. Turn off the outline, turn on the title. Title, do key highlights. Oh, no. I don't like doing title. I already explained it in another video, or another part of the video, because it takes off the background, and you can do transparency with the background essentially. Let's put key highlights. I like this at the top left. You can even move the margins a bit, which is pretty cool. Oh, no, not like that. Let's do left margin. There you go. If it's not like in the exact position that you like. And title doesn't have that control, so I really like that. Change this to bold. And then, since we already used the text for the title, what I did is just open a new text box. Let's put that over here. Turn off the background. We can just start typing. And unfortunately, Power BI doesn't have any bullet points, so I literally just went to Google, copied and pasted here. Hopefully, it doesn't have a background. Okay, yeah, that doesn't have a background. So yeah, I just went into Google and typed in like CPRIT it's funded $2 billion in grants. From here, you could just change the font color, and then you can just go over here, bold it, get the audience's attention with the bold. That's how you do key highlights. That's basically it for the segment on making a dashboard from scratch.